Good afternoon, so I'm here with my SPA 60. I've taken the case off. Now this is your grip safety. Now that spring there and that pin goes through there and that spring goes in between that. So that's the only tricky bit, is getting that through there. So I've taken this off to show you the sears. And then this sear goes in between there like that, okay? So you put that on first and then put the sear in. So what you've got your bar here that operates from the trigger, and that just sits in there and runs on that pin there. And then you've got this flat here. This is your spring for your trigger. That's like your first sort of stage till that bar comes back and it hits this sear. This spring here holds that sear in that position, okay, until it's pushed. So you could probably take a little bit of pressure off that. I have warmed this up and just give it a teeny little pull, just to take a little bit of strength off it, okay. And then that's it in. So this is it in the cock state, okay. This spring's quite strong in the cock state. So if I hold that pin there, and you need to hold that in there because obviously it has this bar, and you'll be able to see this bar come back. So as you pull the trigger, it comes back, it hits that, and it will start to rotate that sear, yeah. And then you should be able to see the top sear go. There you go. That's the release, okay. And that's in its release state. So what I shall probably polish, I shall polish this face here, the face inside there, this corner here, and certainly the ends of both these bars, because this is like a pressed steel. So that should make it smoother, and then this little bit of pressure here, it might just make it slightly lighter. But with the lubrication, it got it down to 8 pounds pull. Before that, it wasn't even reading on the actual my spring balance, on the trigger pull balance. So now it's down to 8. But if I get down to like 4, yeah. But probably a good polish on all those faces would certainly help. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and then we'll put it all back together and we'll see what the trigger pull is. So I hope you like the little video. Take care and thanks for watching. Good afternoon, so I'm back with my SPA 60 and I've polished all the edges of the sears up, operating faces, so I'm now going to reassemble it. I think the easiest way to put it together is probably to put this spring through this pin first, yeah, and assemble it like that, and then install it, because otherwise it could be quite tricky getting that spring in between the actual grip safety and the pin. So you get that in there first. There we go, like so, and that pin goes in there and that lever goes above that, so that would sit like that, okay. You've got your spring here, don't need to worry about that, so you actually return for your grip safety. So it's going to sit roughly like that, and then you want to get this other sear here, and you've got a little spring on the end which is going to be quite fiddly, I think, and the bigger loop goes around the end of the sear like so, and then that needs to go in between the grip safety, if we can get it in there. Then that'll stay on there. It might be easy to put it in without the spring, like so. That sits like that. And you've got the long pin sits in like that. So that's how it sits in the uncocked state. Now you want to get this little spring, and it goes around this sear edge here. If you hook it round like so, that's it. Then pop it onto the pin. There we go. Push it all the way on. Okay, so that holds it in that position there. And then you've got this bar here. This sits against. This face here operates against that face there. So that's been polished up. That's polished up because as you pull the trigger, that does push up and runs against this plastic edge here. That is plastic. So what we'll do, we'll put a little bit of lube on that, a little bit of molybdenum on all the faces. Yeah, help it. These have all been well polished up, and that sits in there. So that bit there needs to go inside the trigger first, like so. Get it in. Doing this on camera is always a bit fiddly. It needs to go like so. So that sits. So the grip safety sits like that. So when you pull the grip safety in, it goes up and it clears that bar, and that allows it to touch the sear. And then you've got a little return spring. This is for the trigger itself. Okay, so you've got a little pin as well. That goes in there, so that's what rides, that's the stop for the trigger. And then you've got a little spring goes in like so. That's, I've weakened that a little bit as well because that was quite long, so I've just taken that because that just affects the actual first stage trigger pull, you see. So that's it all reassembled. So what we've got to do now is just put a final bit of grease on the operating bits, like there. Maybe a bit of grease on the spring. A bit more grease on the actual faces there. And then we can reassemble it all and see on the tops of the pins. Yeah, and then we'll see how she shoots. Okay, so that is the actual bits all in place. Just make sure all the pins are engaged, like so. And obviously that needs to be pushed inside there. The spring just sits there like that. So when you assemble this, we're going to just put the top on. So that's all the bits. All the screws are actually inside the frame. So what you've got to do is this bit here sits in this, goes in this groove like that. So that's the bit you want to get in first, because in a reasonably tight fit, it's quite firm, like that. Once it's in, push it down from that point there, and then you'll just push the grip safety in, and that is all the bits. Right, so that screw there goes in there. I'll put a bit of Loctite on that to keep it because it does vibrate loose. So for the time being, I'm just going to screw this up, and then I shall put some Loctite on just until I get the other screws in the frame, because you've got the 10 screws to do up, like so. So that'll just hold that bit of frame together. Okay, and then we've just got to get the cross point. Yes, this is my cross point here, and basically just do all these screws. Now if you do take these screws all the way out the frame, do remember that there are some that are different threads and also some are longer. Okay, but I've put all mine back in the frame, so if you just lift it and carefully drop it into place, okay, and then just do all these screws up. You've got 4 on the grip. So it's pretty easy to take apart. Obviously, you might have to use a bit of effort initially to undo these screws because they are quite, they do grip very well into the actual frame. Quite a good polycarbonate, and also if you've got grease on your fingers, doesn't really help. But yeah, these watchmaker screwdrivers do work very well. This one here is a different thread than the other ones at the front. These two are smaller, and I think they're roughly the same length, but they're smaller head and smaller thread. So just keep doing them till they're just tight like that. You don't need to over tighten them. Yeah, just so the frame is like that. And then you've got one at the top here. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all the screws tight, and that's tight. So that's it fully assembled now. So I can now stick my peep sight thing back on, temporary peep sight thing, the rear sight, because this does shoot about 4 inches high, like so. So that's it, all reassembled, and then all ready for some testing and see how she performs. So I hope you like that little video. Take care, and thanks for watching.